What's up guys, good morning. So I'm going to do a series on a PC build. Now I'm going to discuss a few things. One, why am I not upgrading my Mac to the newest Mac and instead building a PC? Two, why am I building a PC instead of buying a pre-built? And then three, I've been scouring the internet and there's lots of videos on building the best high-end PC, and there's a lot for building a budget PC, but not so much for the intermediate range, because that's where things get a little complicated. So I'm going to buy everything piece by piece and we're going to discuss all the parts. And if you want to follow along, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into it. Alright, so I've been a Mac user since 2007. It's been doing everything that I need for it to do. You know, lately I've been getting more into 3D animation, and I find that my Mac, I have a 2014 MacBook Pro, it has the Intel i7 processor with a quad core. It has an NVIDIA graphics card in it. It handles all the tasks fine. It's probably better than most of the laptops out on the market today, but when it comes to rendering out frames for Blender, it just takes a long time. I did try out Blender on my girlfriend's M1 MacBook Air, and it actually works better than my computer does, but it still doesn't render things faster because it's still going off of a CPU and not a GPU, so I need a GPU. That's why I'm going with a PC. It's easy to buy a pre-built PC, but with pre-builts, you get what you get. When you want to upgrade later, it can be difficult. So rather than limit myself to whatever somebody else decided to put into the computer, I'm going to build it myself. And with the prices coming down for GPUs and stuff now, I think it is a more budget-friendly option. So we'll see. Now, I'm not going with one of those crazy high-end builds, and if you're like me, you don't want to drop $2,000 to $3,000 on a PC right away. Maybe that's not in the budget, right? You could spare $100 or $200 here and there every couple weeks. So that's actually what we're going to do. And as you see, the first step is the case. So what we have here is the Corsair 4000d Airflow in white. So I bought this up in Newegg for $88. That's the best price I could find. So it's from Corsair Holdings, and then it got sent to Amazon, and then I got it through Newegg. I'm not sure how that works, but alright. So the reasons I went with the 4000d Airflow: one, I do want to do a white build, so I wanted a white PC. Number two, this is the Airflow version, so I want to make sure that everything's cooled properly, especially with the graphics card nowadays. Making more heat, the CPUs make more heat. You want to make sure that you have proper cooling. This seems to have the best reviews for air cooling, and also it's a good size. I didn't want to get a huge tower. That seems ridiculous. And you know, when choosing a case, you also have to decide like what you want to build with, right? We'll buy the Air Force Base fighter planes. You have to pick your case based on what you think you're going to put into it, right? So I know that I want to be able to upgrade later, and I want to be able to maybe add a sound card or something to a PCI slot, so I decided to go with an ATX motherboard. So you got to make sure that your case fits an ATX motherboard. This one will, right? This fits pretty much any motherboard size, but you know, I didn't get like a mini build. I thought about doing like a mini ATX. I want to have extra PCI slots in case I want to do anything with it in the future. The other thing too, you do have to know like what size coolers you can put on here. So, you know, with CPUs getting more and more powerful and needing better cooling, I know that I wanted to go with an AIO. That's an all-in-one cooler. It's got the radiator with fans, right? The most popular one is the 240mm, right? That's two fans. They also have a 280mm, which is 240mm fans. And then of course you have the very popular 3-fan model, which is 360mm. Honestly, 360mm, I feel you only need if you're going to do some ridiculous overclocking, which I honestly don't plan to do. I am going to be using this for gaming, but I don't plan on overclocking my CPUs, at least not very much. My goal is to get a 240mm AIO. This tower holds a 360mm in the front, and it holds a 240mm on the top, right? So the top is where I'm going to mount the CPU cooler, and then the front's going to have fans. Another reason I wanted to build a PC, I have an Xbox One X, and it does fine for most games, but it is kind of annoying playing Call of Duty, and if you want to go on Modern Warfare, you are limited to the field of view of 80 rather than like 105. Games like Cyberpunk, like the first time Cyberpunk came out and I played through and I had zero problems, and then they did an update to make it, you know, more friendly for PS5 users and stuff. It's been crashing on me a lot more. Not only that, but like the visuals and stuff, I don't feel very immersed in it because I can see like screen tearing and graphics aren't as good as I want it to be to the Xbox One X. Rather than upgrade to a Series X, why not just upgrade to a PC? Basically, I'm switching over to PC from console and switching kind of over from Mac, but I'm not giving up my Mac either. I'm not one of those like, you have to have a Mac or Windows kind of thing. Like, why not have both? So let's open this. Corsair has a 5000 series, and it's a little bit bigger than this one. And if you're getting a 360mm AIO and you want to put it on the top, then you would need a 5000 series. But I'm trying to take up too much space. By the way, this is from Spyderco's, my favorite knife. In the box it says this thing has zero practical purpose, and that I think is a lie. It's actually extremely practical. I use it for everything. So one of the pages says English on the top, but it's in French still. Per the manual, in the front you can hold 3 120mm fans or 2 140mm fans. There's a 120mm fan included. On the top you can have 2 120mm or 2 140mm fans. And in the back it's one 120mm fan. For radiators, in the front you can put a 360mm or you can put a 280mm. On the top you can fit a 280mm or a 240mm, but I believe if you're going to put a 280mm on the top, you have to make sure that it's the slim radiators, not the regular size radiators, otherwise it's going to hit the top of your motherboard. The case is a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be. I'm trying to decide whether or not it is too small. So I was reading forums online. I went through Reddit, and a lot of people said go with the 4000D instead of the 5000, because if you're going to do any air cooling, the 4000D is actually better for air cooling because there's less space in here, so you get more airflow to the components, especially the GPU. So the 5000D, if you're not doing like a water cooling circuit for your GPUs and stuff, they said that there's kind of too much space for the air to be moved. It's a good size. It's a good size. I'm trying to keep it budget friendly. I'm not trying to get crazy with it. The 5000 series is like $160. It's like $130 to $160 depending on which case you get. And this one, I mean, I picked it up for $88, right? So cost-wise, I think it's a lot better. Okay. I'll stick with it. I'll stick with this case. We'll see. We'll see how this works out. If it's too small, I can always upgrade the case later, right? So yeah, we got the 120mm fan in the back, and there's a 120mm fan in the front. Let's see how this works. Oh, nice. This clips right off. So I like this. This is metal, aluminum probably. Do I have a magnet around here? Let me see. Nope, definitely steel, not aluminum. Oh god, yep, there we go. So it's got these little clips in here, and then it just clips right in. Really nice. And then you have the filter on the front. This is one of the big things I wanted for this case, was that it has dust filters. And then you have the 120mm fan in here. It's actually very pretty. On the top you have your power button, you have one USB, you have a USB-C, You have your mic and headphone and a reset button. I like this little yellow Corsair tab. That's nice. Oh, that's like a big magnet. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, alright. Well, you can totally fit a 280 millimeter up here. I might get a 280 millimeter because the difference between a 280 and a 360 honestly isn't that much. And by difference, I mean cooling potential. And then in the back, I like that. Good cable management route. It's got the Velcro straps. You have your two hard drive enclosures for the old school disk drives, if anybody uses those. These are for your SSDs or any kind of accessories that you want to put on here. Those are metal too. But these, the hard drive ones, these are plastic. This plastic, these metal. I feel like I'm liking this a little bit more. Because it's small, it isn't going to take up too much room on the desk, which is good because I don't have too big of a desk. It is good for intermediate builds, you know, I'm not doing any water cooling and stuff. And then on the bottom, you have another dust filter for the power supply unit. So, love that there's dust filters everywhere. This is good, this is good. Next week or next 2 weeks, we're going to be looking into getting other things. I'm buying the components first that I think are going to be interchangeable with anything because I haven't fully decided yet about what GPU I want to get or what motherboard I want to get. Honestly, I haven't even picked which CPU I want to get. I know I kind of want to stick with AMD, and I'll get into why later. So if you're looking into getting a PC case, this seems to be a good size. Small form factor, it's not going to take up too much space. It should house everything that you want it to house. It looks really good. If you want those little montages, I'll do a little montage for you on the way out. Until next time.
work.